All right, so when we hear blockchain, I think most people's minds go straight to Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, cryptocurrency is definitely what comes to mind first for a lot of folks.
But there's this whole other side to blockchain that we're diving into today. A side with the potential to completely change how we do, well, almost everything.
That's right.
We're talking shipping, security, how we manage data, things that touch our lives every single day in ways you might not even realize.
It's true. It goes way beyond just those digital currencies making headlines.
So let's start by, I guess, just laying some groundwork here. Can you break down what blockchain actually is? In a way that even someone who's never even touched a computer could grasp.
Sure. Think of it like a digital record book, but instead of being kept in just one spot like a bank's vault, it's copied across a huge network of computers.
Okay, so not just one big file sitting somewhere.
Exactly. That's the key.
Yeah.
Each block in the chain, it holds a bunch of transactions, and each block is linked to the one before it, kind of creating this unbreakable chain of info.
So no single person or company controls the whole thing.
Nope. Because it's decentralized, no single entity has control. Everyone on the network has a copy, so it's super transparent.
So if someone tried to sneak in and change something, everyone else would know.
Exactly. It's like a public record that's constantly being checked by, like, thousands, even millions of computers.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. And that's why it's so important for industries where trust is super important, right?
Got it. Like, think about global supply chains.
Yeah. One of our sources talked about tracking a product's whole journey, like from the factory floor all the way to someone's doorstep, using blockchain.
Right. That's one of the big things, end-to-end transparency. Every step of the way is recorded on the blockchain.
So everyone involved can see what's happening, like suppliers, manufacturers, shipping companies, everyone.
Exactly. And that's huge for businesses. It helps cut down on counterfeiting and delays.
Which saves everyone time and money, right?
Right. And it ultimately means things run smoother for everyone, businesses and consumers alike.
And I guess consumers feel more confident knowing they're getting the real deal, too.
Absolutely. Take, for example, there's a project that's using blockchain to track tuna from the moment it's caught all the way to when it ends up on your plate at the supermarket.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you know what you're getting is actually sustainable and ethically sourced.
Exactly.
Now, what about those smart contracts we hear about? How do those fit into all of this?
So smart contracts are like self-executing agreements.
Self-execute.
Yeah, basically the agreement's written into the code of the blockchain.
Okay.
So let's say you're buying a car. Once the ownership's transferred, and you say you got the car, the smart contract could automatically make the payment to the seller and update the car's registration with the DMV.
Oh, wow. All without needing lawyers and stacks of paperwork.
Exactly. It cuts out a lot of the middlemen and makes things more efficient.
But wouldn't taking out the human element be risky? Like, what if something goes wrong with the smart contract?
That's definitely a valid concern. Developing and using smart contracts needs a lot of careful thought and planning. But the potential benefits are driving their adoption in a lot of different areas.
Benefits like what? Lower costs?
Yeah, lower costs, things being more efficient, and better security.
Makes sense. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about security, because that's a big one with blockchain. Everyone's always saying how secure it is. Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. It all comes back to what we talked about before. Blockchain being almost impossible to hack because it's decentralized.
Right, because everyone has a copy, so changing something in one place wouldn't change it everywhere.
Exactly. And this is why it's so valuable for security. We've got governments and big companies looking at it to protect sensitive data and even ensure elections are fair.
Yeah, our sources mention some pretty sci-fi sounding stuff, like using blockchain to make voting more secure.
It's becoming less sci-fi and more reality every day. The country of Georgia, for instance, they already tried out a voting system based on blockchain.
Wow, so it's actually happening.
Yep. And while there are still challenges, it shows how blockchain could make elections more transparent and trustworthy.
And what about for us regular folks? How could blockchain improve our security?
Well, think about managing your digital identity online. Blockchain could offer more secure ways to do that and protect all your personal information.
That's a game changer, especially with all these data breaches happening all the time. But hold on, if everything's transparent and out there on the network, wouldn't that raise some privacy concerns?
That's a great point. There's a lot of discussion and research going on right now about how to balance transparency with privacy. There are techniques being developed like zero-knowledge proofs, that would let you prove something without revealing specific info.
So like showing your ID to get into a bar without actually handing over your driver's license.
Exactly. You can prove you meet the criteria without revealing all the details.
That's a pretty neat solution. So it seems like blockchain isn't just about keeping data safe, it's also about making it more usable and accessible, right?
That's right. And data management is another big area where blockchain is making waves.
Oh yeah, one of our sources highlighted a project in India that's using blockchain to create secure health records that people can access anywhere.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. No more chasing down paperwork or worrying about who has access to your medical info.
And I guess the same idea could apply to other things like public records, right?
Absolutely. Imagine property deeds, voting records, legal documents, all easily verifiable and accessible on a blockchain.
That sounds like it could make things so much easier and build trust in those institutions too. But let's be real, no technology's perfect. Blockchain's gonna have some challenges, right?
Of course, it's still a pretty new technology.
Yeah.
And there are some hurdles to overcome. Like we've already talked about the energy consumption, the need to balance transparency with privacy, and the whole regulatory landscape that's still developing.
Right, those are big ones. But are there any other limitations to the technology itself?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is scalability. As more people use blockchain and more transactions happen, some networks can get bogged down and expensive to use.
Kind of like a traffic jam on the internet.
Exactly. Developers are working on solutions to this, but it's an ongoing challenge as blockchain becomes more popular.
It makes sense that there are still kinks to work out. It's all pretty new, but it's exciting to see so much innovation happening in this space.
Yeah, the energy and creativity around blockchain are amazing. Some of the brightest minds are working on this stuff, trying to overcome these challenges and unlock the full potential.
Well said. So on that note, we're going to take a quick break and come back to explore some real-world examples of how blockchain is already being used to empower people and communities all over the world. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about what blockchain is and some of the potential it has. Now, I'm really interested in getting into how this tech can actually help people in like real practical ways.
For sure. One area that's super exciting is this idea of self-sovereign identity. It's where you have complete control over your own digital identity.
So instead of relying on like Facebook or Google to verify who we are,
You'd have your own secure digital ID stored on a blockchain,
wow,
and you could choose exactly what information you share, with who, and on what terms.
that's pretty empowering, huh? No more data breaches or having your info sold without you knowing. Are there any real examples of this happening right now?
Actually, yeah. The city of Zug in Switzerland, they're using blockchain to create a digital ID system for their residents.
No way, what can they do with that?
They can vote online, access government services, even prove they live there.
That's wild. It's like something out of a futuristic movie, but it's happening right now. And it's not just about individuals either, right? Blockchain can create fairer systems on a global scale.
Absolutely. Take financial inclusion, for instance. Tons of people around the world don't have access to basic financial services.
Like bank accounts.
Yeah, or credit, loans.
Mm-hmm.
Blockchain can help bridge that gap.
One of our sources talked about a project in Kenya using blockchain to give microloans to small business owners, a lot of them women, who wouldn't normally be able to get loans from banks.
Right. It's a great example of how blockchain can give opportunities to communities that are often excluded. And it's not just finance either. Blockchain can make supply chains more transparent, ensuring farmers and producers, especially in developing countries, are paid fairly.
So it's about leveling the playing field, making sure everyone has a shot at participating in the global economy. But with all this talk about changing the world, gotta ask, are there downsides?
Well, it's important to remember no technology is perfect. Blockchain has a ton of potential, but there are definitely challenges too.
Yeah, we talked about the energy consumption, privacy concerns, the regulations that are still being figured out.
Right, those are big ones. But are there any, inherent limitations with the tech itself?
That's what I was wondering.
One of the biggest is scalability. As more and more people start using blockchain, some networks can struggle to keep up, making things slow and expensive.
So like a traffic jam on the blockchain superhighway?
Exactly. Developers are working on solutions, but it's definitely something to consider as blockchain becomes more widespread.
Makes sense. We're still in the early stages. There are going to be some bumps. But it's really cool to see how much people are innovating and trying to solve these problems.
Yeah, the energy in this field is incredible. So many talented people are working to unlock the full potential of blockchain.
Speaking of potential, we've talked about individuals and creating fairer systems, but what about its impact on big institutions and power structures? could blockchain disrupt things?
A lot of people are asking that question. Blockchain's whole decentralized nature could shift power away from central authorities.
Towards more community-driven models.
Exactly. We might even see decentralized autonomous organizations, or DAOs, where decision-making power is spread out among the members.
Interesting. It's almost like going back to the early days of the internet when everything was more decentralized and open.
Yeah, there are some parallels there for sure. It's too early to say for sure how blockchain will reshape the world, but the potential for disruption is definitely there.
Blockchain could really shake things up. But with any new tech, there's always the risk of unintended consequences. Are there concerns about how it could be misused?
Definitely. Like any tool, blockchain can be used for good or bad. For example, while it could make elections more transparent, it could also be used to spread misinformation or mess with voting records if it's not implemented carefully.
So it's not a cure-all, just a tool that needs to be used ethically.
Exactly. We have a responsibility to make sure blockchain benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Well said. So I think it's time to explore some of the more speculative possibilities of blockchain, things that might seem far-fetched now, but who knows what the future holds.
I like where this is going. Let's get into some blockchain futurism.
Okay, so we've covered how blockchain works, how it's already making a difference, and some of the challenges that need to be tackled. Now let's have some fun and think about the future, like the really out there stuff.
All right, I'm game. Where do you want to start?
Well, one thing that always blows my mind is the metaverse. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
So how does blockchain fit into this whole virtual world thing?
Well, imagine a metaverse where you actually own your digital stuff, like virtual real estate, in-game items, that kind of thing, all managed through blockchain.
Wait, so instead of a company like, say, Facebook controlling everything?
It'd be more decentralized. Users would have more ownership and control.
Wow, that would be a huge shift. What else is on the horizon, blockchain-wise?
One that's pretty mind-blowing is this idea of decentralized science, or DeSci.
DeSci, that's a new one.
Yeah, it's about using blockchain to totally revolutionize scientific research.
Like how?
Think about funding. What if research projects were funded directly by people through blockchain?
Cutting out all the bureaucracy and gatekeepers.
Exactly. It would be a game changer, especially for independent researchers.
I can see how that would speed things up. And what about data sharing?
That too. Imagine research findings being openly shared on a blockchain, accessible to everyone.
It would definitely accelerate the pace of discovery, but with all this groundbreaking tech, there are always ethical concerns, right? What are some of the worries around these futuristic uses of blockchain?
Well, one big one is the potential to make existing inequalities even worse. Like, if only those with resources and tech skills can access the metaverse or DeSci platforms.
It could leave a lot of people behind.
Exactly. So it's super important to make sure these technologies are designed to be inclusive and accessible for everyone.
We need to build a future where everyone benefits, not just a few.
Could agree more.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into blockchain. It's amazing to see how much potential this technology has to change so many aspects of our lives.
It really is. We're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
From revolutionizing supply chains to empowering individuals to transforming scientific research, the possibilities seem endless.
And as we move forward, it's crucial that we do so thoughtfully and responsibly. We need to think about the ethical implications and strive to create a future where blockchain benefits all of humanity.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of blockchain beyond Bitcoin. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive and are inspired to explore the boundless potential of this groundbreaking technology. Thanks for listening, everyone.